So my name's Jason Scriver. I currently work for Regina Fire and Protective Services. I'm a fire inspector, which is also a dual job of being a fire investigator. How did I get into firefighting? Well, back in 1989, I moved to this small town called Balgonie, and it's just outside of the city of Regina. And I was wanting to get out of the city, raise my kids in a small town setting the way I was raised. And so I got to meet a few people in the town, and there was this one guy that says, "Hey, you should come out to the volunteer fire department." And it was something I'd never really considered. At the time, I think I'd been in corrections for about 9 years and part of the emergency response team there, but I never really thought about firefighting for, I don't know, whatever reason. And I thought, yeah, this might be a way to give back to the community, have some fun and whatnot. So I joined the Balgonie Fire Department in 1989, and yeah, we were a small group of people who just wanted to, you know, help out in any way we could. Yeah, from there I got to love firefighting, and also I got my first responder certification, so that was just another element that Balgonie Fire was doing. So that leads us up to, why am I here? Well, the reason I'm here is because I got diagnosed with prostate cancer at age 48. It was a shock. I was a very healthy guy, like very healthy. I had done triathlons, I was a huge cyclist, always working out, thought I ate fairly healthy, and I had had my physical, which included the PSA test, which is a blood test. And that blood test revealed that I had prostate-specific antigen, very, very high levels. And when my doctor called me, I didn't know what it was. I had never heard of it. I mean, I had had other, I guess, yearly physical exam tests done that I won't mention, but it's prostate related, and those were always normal. But this PSA, I'd never heard of it. And my doctor said, yeah, your levels are really high. So I didn't think much of it. I just thought, oh, I have no symptoms. You know, I'm a healthy guy. It's probably some sort of internal infection, who knows? So I was referred to a urologist who initially, when he was doing his physical on me and whatnot, he said, oh, you know, it's probably just a prostate infection. You know, you take this medication and you come back in 3 weeks and make sure you get a blood test just before. So I went, did my 3 weeks of antibiotics, got my blood test. I went back, and I could just tell on his face that it wasn't good, but I still wasn't diagnosed. And I should say, still, again, I had no symptoms, like nothing. Everything was working as it should. I felt normal. So at that point, he said, well, your PSA has risen up to 66, and some people out there are gonna hear that number and go, what, 66? Like, your PSA should be under 1. So then he said, well, we're gonna have to do a biopsy. So then I had a biopsy, and it came back as prostate cancer, and it was very devastating. Again, when I had the diagnosis, I mean, nothing, I was fine. And of course, I'm just learning about, as we were going, I was just learning, like, what are the next steps? Like, how do we treat this? Is this gonna, you know, is this terminal? Is this something that I can get over? You know, what kind of complications will I have? So I was referred to an oncologist, which is a cancer doctor, and he gave me some options different than the urologist. The urologist was obviously a surgery, and the oncologist was more of a treatment with radiation and different drugs. But at the end of the day, even the oncologist suggested that I have the surgery because there's better chance of removing all the cancer. So within about a month of getting the diagnosis, I went under the knife. I had my prostate cancer surgery, which is a very invasive surgery. I think it was about 4 hours. I lost a lot of blood. It was successful in the fact that when the doctor went and spoke to my wife, he said, no, everything went as planned. The only thing is, I guess, now we're going to have to wait and do some more tests and see if we got all the cancer. So this is the urologist. I go and see him, and he says, yeah, your blood tests after your prostate cancer surgery indicate you still have prostate cancer cells. And it's like, now what? Like, how come I can't get rid of this? Like, you've already taken part of me out, and I'm a little bit messed up. Physically, I wasn't feeling good. Mentally, I wasn't feeling good at all. And now you're telling me I still have cancer. So I was lucky enough to be able to travel to Montreal and have a PET scan specific to prostate cancer. So I had this test done, and basically it's like a CT scan, and it lights up any prostate cancer cells that are remaining. And sure enough, they found more cancer cells, which basically means your stage 4 cancer is metastasized. You know, it's not a good prognosis. Came back to Saskatchewan, gave the information to my oncologist, and then he said, well, we're going to put you on this drug, which is a testosterone blocker. As you can see, my hair's growing back. I used to be bald, and the testosterone blocker is to thank. So if there's one good thing that came out of all this, is I have a head of hair now. But no, otherwise, I was put on a drug, and then I needed to get radiation therapy. So that was another 33 sessions of radiation. I finished that. I went for another PSA test, and no cancer. So it's pretty amazing. I didn't think that I would ever be without cancer. I'm still on that testosterone blocking drug for another few months, and my doctor's going to take me off of it. But yeah, like, I'm doing okay. It's been a real roller coaster. I was off work for almost a year, and while I was off work, Saskatchewan Workers' Compensation Board they were very proactive in that they were developing presumptive cancer policy, which had to be passed through the Saskatchewan government. And I put in my workers' comp form as an occupational injury. I went back to Balgonie, and I went through all of the different calls that I'd gone to. When I was in corrections, I was the leader of the emergency response team. So we used some harsh chemicals, chemical agents, I should say, to control riotous inmates, disturbances and whatnot. So some of those things were also, carcinogenic. And then my time with emergency management, I mean, we did a lot of training. We did a lot of certifications for firefighters. So, and then just my firefighting. I mean, we went to a lot of fires, and obviously, you're taking in stuff that you really shouldn't be taking into your body, because I think after a while it depends who you are and what kind of, I guess, genetics, but it can affect you, and that's what happened to me. I most likely got cancer from all of these exposures. End of the day, I went back to work after a year. it wasn't too hard to go back because being off for a year with cancer, I think, is more stressful than anything else in your life. It's more stressful than, I guess, having kids or getting married, or I don't know. It's, you know, it's your life. And there was a lot of question marks during that time that I was sick, and there was a lot of things I was unsure of. But having, you know, the sick time covered, having, you know, different expenses covered has been, you know, just one stressful aspect of this that I didn't have to worry about.